I'm not entirely sure what stealth camping is, but the five
Ian
most
on
disturbing
YouTube
ones
is a
is
channel
what
run by
we're watching
30-year-old
today.
Ian who's been posting on the platform for the better part of a decade. His content covers everything from day in the life work vlogs to different adventures after hours. And while most of it is nothing more than fun, one particular encounter left him shaken to his core. On January 18th, 2024, Ian posted a video going over the disturbing experience he had while stealth camping in a McDonald's parking lot in Palm Springs, California. Stealth camping, for those who don't know, is when someone spends the night in a vehicle or tent in an area not officially designated for camping.
Got it. Okay, I was about to say, like, isn't it just camping in a parking lot without permission or something? Okay, I'm glad he explained it.
Usually while trying to avoid detection. It's often done out of necessity, curiosity, or simply for the thrill of it. And while it can be harmless, it also means the camper is completely exposed and vulnerable to whatever or whoever might be lurking nearby. This is exactly what happened with Ian on the 16th of January 2024.
Oh, recent.
He'd been stealth camping for quite some time by that point, and had spent nights in much harsher conditions, like during heavy rain or in a sandstorm. So, staying overnight in a McDonald's parking lot seemed like nothing to him. Unfortunately, he couldn't have been more wrong. After setting everything up, he went to lie down in the back of his car. But just as he was about to fall asleep, he was interrupted by the sound of someone repeatedly trying to open his car's door.
Oh
He
my
immediately
God.
got up to see who it was, and this is what he came across.
What's going on, man? What's going on? What's up? What's up, man? What's going on? What are you doing?
There was a man standing outside the
Are you
passenger
trying to break
door.
in?
What made the encounter even more unsettling was that the man never said a word, even as Ian repeatedly called out to him, trying to get some kind of explanation for what he was doing.
Hey, bro.
Yeah, never.
What's up?
Don't unlock your car. Don't open your window.
What you doing, man? Ain't weird, bro.
Despite his panic, however, he made the wise decision to stay locked within his car and quickly drive to a more hidden spot in the lot. But that wasn't enough, because just a few minutes later, Ian spotted the same man walking around the parking lot, possibly trying to locate his car. Fearing for his safety, he drove to a completely different location and managed to sleep through the rest of the night without any incident. Still, the question remained, who was this man and what exactly was he trying to do?
Was he trying to break
Ian
in?
never made a follow-up or shared any more info regarding the encounter in the video's description, so we can only speculate on what happened that night. Now, it's entirely possible that he was just a harmless, mentally ill person who wasn't fully conscious of what he was doing.
Oh no.
This could explain why he didn't answer when Ian called out to him and just calmly walked away without a word. However, a far more likely explanation is that the act of trying to break into Ian's car was completely intentional, and when he was caught, he just acted confused and harmless to seem less threatening. Perhaps he really thought the car was empty and was trying to steal it. Or maybe he knew Ian was inside and had intentions to rob him or something far more sinister. His strange behavior also suggested that he might have been under the influence of some kind of drugs, which would have made him even more unstable and by extension more dangerous.
Everything's a
Fortunately,
possibility
Ian
at this
managed to
point.
drive away unscathed before he could find out the man's true intentions. On February 11th, 2024, stealth camping YouTuber Brendan Explores posted a video of him spending a night in the small village of Jaywick, England. The thing about Jaywick, however, is that it's been named as the most deprived town in all of England.
Huh.
The combination of high unemployment and poor living conditions has pushed many of its residents toward a life of crime. Brendan, however, wanted to see the village firsthand to decide whether it was truly as bad as the media made it out to be.
So he did it to
His
himself.
first impressions of the place were quite good, with him admiring the natural landscape surrounding the village. What he didn't realize at the time was that this lighthearted escape to the countryside would soon spiral into complete disaster. It began with him driving through the town and searching for a discreet spot to park his van so he could settle in before it got dark. He eventually found a parking lot that looked promising and decided to make it his home for the night. But it didn't take long for him to start noticing a series of red flags in the area, like people riding around with gangster rap blaring from a speaker.
Oh my
and
gosh.
a group of street racers speeding down the road right in front of the parking lot. As the evening approached, he was also left alone in the parking lot, making him a prime target for any would-be robber. So, after thinking about it for a few minutes, he thought it would be best to leave the parking lot and find a more secluded spot for camping.
Oh my god.
He eventually went down a dirt trail and parked in the middle of nowhere, without any houses or major roads nearby. This turned out to be the worst decision Brendan could have made in that situation, because at around 2:30 a.m., about 4 hours after he went to sleep, he was woken up by the sound of someone walking around his van.
I think someone's outside the van.
Wouldn't you put cameras on your car, like on a van like this big?
This person then tried to open the van's sliding door. But before Brendan even had a chance to fully understand his predicament, this happened.
Hey!
I think at this point the camera's just
Whoever this
facing
person was
down.
shattered the passenger side window before running away once Brendan started shouting. In the video's description, Brendan speculated that this person was likely trying to steal the mini refrigerator he had on the passenger seat. While this might not be entirely accurate, there's still some truth behind it. Judging by the fact that the intruder fled the moment they heard Brendan, it's likely they were simply looking to steal something, nothing more. As for how they managed to find his van in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah, that's
it's
weird.
entirely possible that they stalked him from when he was in town. However, given these circumstances, the situation could have turned out a lot worse. As one comment under the video pointed out, when you said you had found the perfect quiet spot after driving away from town down a quiet pitch-black lane in the middle of nowhere with nobody else around for miles, at that point I was absolutely terrified. How on earth you managed to go to sleep to begin with amazes me.
Yeah, I
A few
wouldn't have gone
blokes
back
with
to
their hoods
sleep.
pulled down and armed, and you wouldn't have stood a chance. While nothing truly tragic occurred, the experience was terrifying enough to rattle Brendan. Instead of staying the night, he drove through the darkness until daybreak just to make it back home, which was
Wow.
ultimately the right call. He's still making stealth camping videos, but now he's far more cautious about where he parks,
Good.
especially when it comes to remote or isolated spots.
That's
In March
crazy
of
that people actually do
2025,
this.
a camping YouTuber named Daniel Mark Brown planned a stealth camping trip in the woodlands surrounding Oswestry, England. His plan was simple: travel alongside one of the many hiking trails in the area and then go off-trail to find a good stealth spot. And this worked better than he expected, finding the perfectly hidden camping area in no time. After setting down his supplies, Daniel went to the nearby river to cook a meal before heading back to the spot he'd found earlier. By the
That's really
time he
good,
came
actually.
back, it was already starting to get dark, and the trail was starting to empty
Taco
out,
sounds
giving
good.
Daniel the peace of mind to wind down and call it a night. However, what happened next made him realize the true danger he was in. After laying out his sleeping bag, settling down, and finally falling asleep, 90 minutes had passed when he was suddenly jolted awake.
100% being spotted. Right, I'm trying to keep calm and keeping calm. I'm almost too scared to breathe here. I think a dog or something just came in.
Daniel was woken up by the cracking of branches, followed by the light from a flashlight. He eventually found the courage to unzip his sleeping bag to see who was out there.
That's crazy. Why would you? Nah, I don't know about unzipping the sleeping bag.
Oh, that's right. They're looking straight at me. Right, I'm trying not to panic.
I mean, you're risking your life,
By
right?
this point, he couldn't think of anything else to do but call out to the person who was now aiming the flashlight at him. But instead of getting a reply of any kind, the person
walked
just
away.
turned around and disappeared into the woods, never to be seen again.
Hello?
I mean, maybe they're just checking around too, right? To
They haven't been about, I haven't seen a single light now for maybe 5-10 minutes. I don't even know. I've been just trying to keep as calm as possible. But when they walked off and the light went out, I don't even know which direction they were. But somewhere in that direction. I'll forget it. Let's just go.
He's
This
going.
experience startled him enough to quickly pack his stuff and hightail out of the wooded area.
Wow.
However, if the person with the flashlight had malicious intent, leaving the campsite wasn't going to be an easy task. The way they refused to respond to Daniel's hello was unsettling enough. But how they silently turned off their light and disappeared into the woods suggested they might have been hiding, waiting to ambush him to rob him,
Yeah,
or
it's a
possibly
possibility.
worse. That being said, it's entirely possible that the mysterious person was just someone walking their dog at night or something else completely innocent. As for why they didn't reply to Daniel, it's possible they were just as scared as he was after hearing a hello from the darkness of the woods. However, we also can't rule out the possibility that they were trying to sneak up on Daniel for some sinister reason, only turning around once they realized they'd been spotted. Whatever the case may be, Daniel made it out of the woods safely without encountering the same person again.
Thank goodness, dude. Like, I can't believe people actually do this. Stealth camping?
Ellie and Graham are an elderly duo from the UK who travel around the country in their camper van while vlogging about their adventures on YouTube. In November of 2022, they were on one of their trips when they had to urgently travel back home due to an emergency. However, they were too far away to make it back in one day. After searching online, they found a stealth camping spot on the outskirts of a town called Altrincham. It was a fairly small car park, but the couple was in a hurry, so they didn't have any
Had
other
no
choice but
choice.
to camp there for the night, hoping to get back on the road the next morning. What they didn't expect, however, was that this would spiral into the most terrifying experience of their entire camping journey. By the time they got to this location, it was already dark out. They parked their van and settled in for the night, going to sleep at around 11 p.m. But then at 1 a.m., both of them woke up to the sound of loud music blaring from a car. However, the music stopped soon after, so they brushed it off and began settling back into their bed. That's when they both heard a disturbing bang coming from their own van. It was loud enough that they thought a tree had fallen onto their van. They quickly rushed outside to see what had happened, and this was the shocking sight they came across.
Oh my god, the glass is broken.
Just can't believe it. We've just been woken up with a loud bang, and
Oh my god.
you dropped something on the floor there. Or was that glass? 2 bricks. And someone's just smashed Merlin's windows while we were sleeping.
Wow.
So no, we don't recommend this as a place to stop. They smashed the windscreen, but Graham's hoping he can drive with that. But here's us in the middle of nowhere with a broken window and a cracked windscreen. About 200 miles from home.
Jeez, man.
After some investigation, they found 3 bricks around the van, which was severely damaged. The windshield was cracked, the passenger side window was completely shattered, and the van had a massive dent behind the sliding door. More troubling than the physical damage to the van was the psychological impact on Ellie and Graham, who were now absolutely terrified. It's also possible that this could have been a trap designed to lure them out of the safety of their locked van. However, even after hours had passed, no one approached the couple, attempted a break-in, or made any kind of move toward them. But instead of bringing comfort, this only made the two even more unsettled. They were just attacked with multiple bricks, yet they had no idea who did it and why. After talking to the family from another camper van that was parked nearby, they learned that the attacker came in a car, as the other family heard tire screeches after the attack.
Jeez.
Ellie and Graham also figured that this was a group effort, because despite the multiple bricks, there was only one collision sound. In other words, there were at least 3 suspects who threw bricks at the same time. Why would anyone attack an elderly couple out of nowhere and then leave without gaining anything from it? Maybe they just wanted to scare off campers for whatever reason. But if that were the
No.
case, why was the other van spared completely? Unfortunately, there's really no clues to help answer these
I
questions.
feel bad for this couple.
No faces were seen, no voices were heard, and no clear motive ever emerged, leaving the entire incident a complete mystery. And while Ellie and Graham were too scared to ever go stealth camping again after this incident, it seems by now they've since made a complete recovery and are back on the road again.
Good for them, though. Good for them. They made a recovery, but I would be
On
traumatized
the
for
15th
life.
of July 2022, YouTuber The Abandoned Camper uploaded a video of her stealth camping in an abandoned cemetery from the 1800s.
Why? At a cemetery, nonetheless.
Things started off quite normal as she found a clearing hidden in the thick foliage and began unpacking her camping gear. After setting up camp, she decided to explore the cemetery to pass the time until nightfall. And that's
You're
when things started
insane.
to take a strange turn. As she was filming the gravestones, she began to hear what sounded like a bunch of kids screaming.
Imagine a kid just pops up out of nowhere.
She assumed she was alone in the cemetery, however, she could not have been more wrong. As she was going back to her camp, she saw a group of kids in the distance who likely knew about her presence.
So if you can't tell, it's pretty dark here, right now. But there are kids here, like young kids, in the cemetery. And I'm wondering how active this place actually is. Do people come here at night and kind of party in the forest or something?
Well, she's there.
That dog kind of ruined it. Not ruined it, I shouldn't say that. The dog barking, I didn't want to disturb anybody, especially since I'm not supposed to be here. So I think I'll finish my exploring tomorrow morning. And because there seems to be still
Oh my
a lot of
God.
stuff here. See? Hear them? I think they know I'm here. That's not good.
At this point, she was pretty certain that the kids knew about her and were just messing with her. However, she still kept her camera rolling just in case, and even
Good.
made sure that she wasn't followed back to the campsite.
I'm gonna keep this recording. Just in case. But I'm also gonna stop and find out what they're doing, if they're actually watching me or not. Oh, I can see them.
I can't see them. I can't see them. Like, how high of a quality do we need to go? Let's go enhanced bitrate. Like, it's pixelating.
Oh, I can see them.
Is she talking about like this? Like this, this, and this? Those look like trees or something. This, I don't know, but you can't, like, there's something here, there, and there, but...
I just don't want them to see where I'm going. Okay. I think they're gone.
What?
Once back at her stealth campsite, she started a small fire to cook her food. Unfortunately, this turned out to be a huge mistake.
Oh no.
Because shortly after starting the fire, she started hearing the sound of people talking and walking toward her in the forest.
There are people walking around back here. They don't have headlamps on, but like I said in my last video, I do not like being around people in the middle of the forest.
Yeah, it's
Especially when
sketchy.
it's dark out.
It's sketchy.
So I might pack up and get out of here when I think the coast is clear.
It's unclear what the kids' intentions were, and we likely won't ever know, as she made the wise decision to avoid any risk by packing up her things and quickly leaving the cemetery, making sure to remain as quiet as possible.
So how'd she leave if she had to had to have the light on? How did she leave and get out of there? That's what I want to know. Like, how'd she get out of there if she had to have a light on to guide? Huh. I'm never going stealth camping. You couldn't pay me enough to do it. I would never do it. I'm not gonna create a channel about it. I'm not even gonna associate myself with it. Like, nope.